everyone. This is Justin Perrin, CEO for 13 Layers. First, I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your crazy day to meet with us. We're going to challenge the way that you've been thinking about cybersecurity and the solutions that are in the market. But first, let me tell you a little bit about us. We have been focused specifically on cybersecurity for 15 years, which has allowed us to secure thousands of endpoints nationwide and prevented any of our clients from having a data breach in 5 years and 6 months. We've reverse engineered over 1,600 malwares and produced 0 false positives. Later in the discussion, we will talk about why all of this is so important. Our founder, Felix Negron, started out as a serial instrumentation engineer building high-speed machinery for the manufacturing industry. During that time, he discovered computer science and went on to work with the FBI combating cyber attacks across the United States. Along the way, he realized that the same problem that exists today was prevalent then. Companies are spending millions of dollars on cybersecurity, and the cyber criminals step or two ahead. The entire industry was built around reacting to an active attack or hoping to block malwares they had already defined. So after 15 years of studying the combo of processing electrical signals at high speeds, computer science, and sophisticated malwares and cyber criminals around the globe, he created our first proprietary solution, threat intelligence. This revolutionary intelligence as a service has been defined as the missing link in cybersecurity due to its ability to proactively stop sophisticated attacks in under 30 seconds. We haven't had a single data breach in 5 years and 6 months see any of our clients leveraging threat intelligence. Along the way, Felix also built the Black Network to protect the recipe for Coca-Cola, Tropicana, and Pepsi Company, has amassed over 26 certifications in all fields, and was recently accepted to the World Compliance Association. As we go through this information, I'm going to invite you to do exactly what Felix did many years ago. I want you to challenge the way that you think about cybersecurity solutions that exist in the market and how they work today. So, statistics are always a good indicator, but real-world experience means a lot more. We have been involved in a large number of data breach incident response projects and have seen the same statistics confirmed from the inside. The takeaways are really quite simple. Attacks have increased 7-fold with COVID-19 and work from home. The attackers were inside the network already, anywhere from 56 to 208 days on average. And all of these sophisticated attacks are bypassing traditional controls, including every firewall in the market, endpoint protection, SIEM logs, and security operations centers all over the globe. As an example, let's talk a little bit more about costs. So we've all thought about it, but these are actual numbers from the most recent Ponymon and IBM Institute report. As always, healthcare data breaches are the most expensive at an average of $7.13 million, followed closely by the energy, financial, pharma, technology, and industrial sectors. The global average for all companies is right at $3.86 million. So again, statistics are only good as the way you interpret them. So here you can see the average total cost of a data breach determined by the size of the organization, with the purple column showing 2019 and blue column showing 2020. What's shocking here is that companies with 5,000 to 10,000 employees had the highest average cost of a single data breach in 2020 at $4.72 million, followed closely by companies with 10,000 to 25,000 employees at $4.61 million, and those with 25,000 or more employees at $4.25 million. This problem doesn't scale well either. Small companies with 500 employees or less, with far less resources financially, would suffer a $2.35 million average breach. This would be a much larger percentage of their revenue as opposed to a company with thousands of employees, which is why more than 10% of small businesses that suffer a cyber attack never recover. While everyone else is focused on the obvious cost of the actual ransom and the cost of recovery, there are so many other costs that can allow a data breach to actually put companies out of business. First, let's go through the direct costs, because some may have been forgotten. So you have your cost of downtime, which we'll cover in the next slide. You have your legal fees. There are a number of different lawyers that you have to get engaged in the process. There are data forensic services To give you an example, we charge anywhere from $500 to $750 an hour for forensic services. So please get a hold of us before this happens. Cost to notify customers. You have to notify each and every customer by mail and email. And in many cases, if Social Security numbers or PII is compromised, you will have to pay for credit monitoring services for your clients. So that doesn't include the ransom. That doesn't include compliance fines and settlements. So those are the numbers that everybody thinks about. But I want to talk a little bit about indirect costs, because they are just now doing long-tail financial studies of the costs that are still affecting organizations from data breaches back in 2016. 36% rather of the total average cost of data breaches in 2019 came from lost business. And lost business comes from things like reputation damage, right? It comes from current customers leaving. Maybe new customers don't come. You may lose partners. You may lose vendors. You may lose some of your top employees, because after all, if you're in consulting, for example, or if you're engineering, your reputation is everything. So let me give you an example of this. I challenge my clients to always think about what is the average lifetime value of their customer. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples, because I want you to be thinking through this about the impact to your business, much like I'm sure you've already done, but with some new information. So a surgeon, for example, the average lifetime value of his customer from the day that that customer meets the surgeon to the day that they die or no longer do business with them could be around $100,000. For a dentist, the average is around $12,000. So if you multiply that by the potential number of customers you will lose and the new potential customers that may not come to your business, that's a big number, right? So just remember, the direct costs and the indirect costs are much bigger than you think. There's often been times where the ransom is the actual cheapest part of the entire ordeal. So cost of downtime. Most people in technology at this point have calculated this down pretty much, I would say, to the T, right? But here are some general numbers for you to go by. And in the coming weeks, we're going to be releasing a data breach cost calculator that you can actually calculate these things on your own on our website. So stay tuned for that. But some simple numbers to think about are $137 to $427 a minute and $5,600 to $9,000 a minute. Now, none of that includes compliance fines. Compliance fines are just part of the picture, but a costly one. So we covered indirect, we covered direct, but we didn't cover all of the problems with compliance fines. So it's important to note that these fines are calculated per occurrence, and the variance of those costs depends 100% on the organization's level of negligence and security maturity levels. So what that means is when you hear legalese, willful negligence, that's tied directly to how well the organization is performing from a security perspective. Something else that's a little bit more concerning here in the States is the California Consumer Privacy Act, launched January 1st of 2020, has already been enforced many times as of July 1st. So that just came into effect July 1st. But if you look at the table above, you'll see these fines can get pretty costly. And if you're in your industry, you should know these inside and out. If not, reach out to us and we'll get you some information. But what's most frightening about the California Consumer Privacy Act is there are currently 33 more states with laws like this in the works for 2021 and beyond. So make sure and pay attention to your local legislature for those coming to your state. So we've covered the potential costs of a data breach. We've covered that all the other solutions are on the market. They're not working. Hackers are inside the network for 208 days. But now it's time to dig into why, right? So why is this happening? Why has this been happening for so many years? So if you think about how malwares are created. So there are over 450,000 new malwares created every single day. 75% of those are only seen once. That's because the code can change. So this is why traditional security controls are not working. There are really only two categories of security solutions on the market today. One, definitions based, meaning malwares that we already know exists. Firewall, endpoint protection, email protection. If the malware changes signatures or evolves, it's no longer known. Okay? Second category is reactive and AI products. So those are based on reacting to what we think we know. So SIEM logs, Security Operations Center, SOC as a service, You may have heard MDR, Managed Detection and Response, EDR, etc. Doesn't matter the term, those are all reactive technologies. The problem with AI and machine learning, besides that it's a terribly overused marketing term, is that automation is only as good as the intelligence provided. And that's what's missing. That's why we are the missing link in security. World-class intelligence, 1, and the speed of reaction, 2. So we talk to C-level technology professionals and managed service providers all over the globe all week. Almost every single day we're talking to at least 1 or 2 of those profile of people. Those are people that understand the technology landscape and are helping other organizations increase their security posture. What we have found is that 90% of organizations are between maturity level 3 and maturity level 4 on this slide. So what that means is they're containing and they're managing threats. They're reacting. They're trying to predict, right? So the question for you is, where are you on this scale? How has your company matured as far as its security goes? Are you trying to contain attacks and mitigate the damage of a ransomware after, or a sophisticated attack after it has penetrated your network? That's where a lot of people are. Are you using SIEM and incident response and SOC as a service? That's okay, because those are all important technologies as well. We can help you answer all of those questions. A maturity assessment is a service that we offer in addition to our manual white hat penetration testing. So normally when I'm one-on-one with my clients, or someone from our technical team is, we usually sprinkle in a story or two of a ransomware attack or a sophisticated attack that we're involved in or help block. But I often get asked, what's happening behind the scenes? So this is very important to know. Okay, once a ransomware attacks, the clock is ticking. Okay, the average ransomware attacks in under 30 seconds. Okay, the longest one on record is around 1 minute and 10 seconds. So unfortunately, most of the security market is still focused on trying to react to attacks within a 30-minute time frame. By the time a Security Information and Event Management, or SIEM log, provides actionable intelligence to the Security Operations Center team, who then provides a resolution to the IT team, the organization is well past the 30-minute mark, even in a best-case scenario. So think about it. The average ransomware attacks in under 39 seconds. So we're way too late to prevent a lot of damage. Here you can see what's going on after the 30-second mark. Don't forget, the average sophisticated attack has also lived within the target's network for an average of 208 days and laid the foundation for the rest of the attack. So let me explain this a little bit more. As you can see, right around the 60-second mark, they're already calling out to the command and control server. GPS has been compromised. Malicious payload delivery, that's really when the attack is going into full scale. Right around the 15-minute mark, you've got your lateral movement. So what that means is it's infecting other endpoints, right? You've got token mitigation. And what that means is they've basically stolen the password to your password. And what I mean by that is once they have control of the tokens, that is the key behind your username and password. So once they've gotten control of your tokens, your users can change their passwords all they want and it doesn't matter. The hackers have control. New accounts are created, right? So then we go into minute 30. Backdoors are created. That way, in case between that 15 and 30-minute mark something is stopped, they can come in later, right? Hidden processes are installed. Network topology is scanned for later attacks. Backup. Then you look at 60 minutes. You've got DLL code injections. You've got scheduled tasks for later attacks. You've got hidden registry changes. So, and then once you get to around 1 to 5 days, you've got a full breach in process. So think about this again. If you don't know it exists, you can't stop it. So that's definitions based. If you're reacting to it and you don't react to it within 15 minutes, look at the amount of damage that is being done to your network. So it's time to stop guessing, and it's time to stop reacting, and it's time to stop stopping. And that's what we're going to talk about. So what can you do, right? Well, we can help. We've created a powerful suite of solutions to bring your company up to maturity level 5. Anticipate, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So the first product we're going to dive into is threat intelligence. And this is where everyone is always asking us what our secret sauce is. So without getting into the depths of computer science, it's simply a combination of our global intelligence gathering and the way that we are able to identify the signatures of attackers from all over the globe in the same way that DNA sequences are analyzed. And what I mean by that is we are inspecting data at the electronic level, or the electronic layer rather, whereas the rest of the solutions on the market are studying behaviors and patterns at the code and applications layer. So every layer you go up in application development, there's a translation. So as you get higher in the stack, meaning application and software, the code becomes more and more complex. So we are inspecting that data, and combined with the speed in which we process the electronic data due to our experience with high-speed machinery, allows us to do things others can't. Remember, stopping a sophisticated attack like a ransomware, there are many others, is a combination of three key factors. Number one, speed. Number two, intelligence. And number three, disruption of the communication channels and processes to prevent the attack from happening. And that's what we're doing. So, as you can see here, this is a report spit out from our threat intelligence device that shows there are basically only two options for traffic. So we use an exclusive or decision engine. So block or allow are the only things that can happen. Right here, what you're looking at is a report from a Cisco firewall and ESET antivirus, both considered, relatively market leaders, if you will. But again, they can't be responsible for catching everything. That's why we put layers in place. So, we can plug in and we can show you what your security stack is missing within 30 minutes of install. It doesn't matter what firewall you're using. It doesn't matter what endpoint protection you're using. We can show you reports from all of them. So I'm happy to show you that. If you want to take a look at your custom environment, we can show that to you. But here's where it gets good. So we're not just going to provide instant protection within 30 minutes. We're going to take all of this intelligence and we're going to feed it back in to your existing infrastructure, your firewall, your endpoint protection, your email protection, and we're going to make your entire organization even stronger with the money that you've already invested. Now, of course, if there are other things that you want questions on, we do a lot of testing of hardware and software, and we'd be happy to provide recommendations if you'd like some. But here's the deal. Not only are we going to make your infrastructure stronger, but with all of the bad traffic being instantly removed, that bandwidth throughput for your network is going to increase by 15 to 20%. When you're using SIEM, SOC as a service, you've got to push all that data out to the cloud. So it's got to come in, then you've got to push it back out, you've got to analyze it. That's actually having the reverse effect. That's slowing down your network. So we want to improve the performance of your network while we're doing this, which is very powerful. So here we have the world's first SIEM with active threat detection. And what I mean by that is, you've heard me use the term SIEM, Security Information Event Management Log, quite a bit. But those technologies are really just designed to visualize data, right? So they take millions and millions of lines of code from everything from the camera that I'm talking to you on, to the microphone, to the router, to the firewall, to the gateway, to the switches, right? To your printer, to your smart thermostat, to your window sensors. All of those things are producing lines of code that are coming through your network. The SIEM log simply categorizes those into basically three categories. We think this stuff is good, this stuff may be bad, this stuff is probably bad, we need to take a deeper look. That third category then gets spit out to a security operations center team, and they have to do all of the research that we've already done to make a decision. So it's a much longer process. So what we've done is we've taken an IDS and IPS and integrated it with the SIEM log that provides active threat detection. So we can show you things like firewall changes, rule changes. I'm going to go to the next slide here and show you some other things. We can show you account privileges. That same threat intelligence that you saw through the threat intelligence solution will also be visualized here in the SIEM. So I want to give you a picture real quick, because a lot of clients I talk to, they love SIEMs because it gives them everything. But what we're finding is, because two problems. One, we have a shortage of 400,000 cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. alone, and it's over 4 million globally. We don't have enough people to deal with all this information. that can actually go and provide actionable intelligence and then stop these attacks, right? That's one of the biggest problems. But what we also have is these SIEM logs are not doing anything except for visualizing data. So you still have to have another solution, which is Security Operations Center in-house, which is a couple $1 million minimum to build, or you have to outsource that and pay another bill. So we've created a SIEM log with active threat detection, and nobody else has that right now. So let us know if you'd like to see that more in person. Now, we all know that employees are our weakest link, right? So unless you live and breathe cybersecurity, you're not going to be as vigilant as, say, your CEO might. And even some CEOs just don't have the skill to know this stuff at all the time. So look, there are plenty of productivity monitoring products on the market, but you got to remember something. Whenever we come to market with a solution, we don't come to market with a solution that's marketable. We come to market with a solution that fills a very specific gap in cybersecurity, which is why you can see what we're doing is so different. Nothing has changed with our ThreatWatch product, okay? So while you get all the great benefits of, productivity monitoring and things like that, what we're really doing is we're focusing on the security of that employee. So what we really want to show you is we want to show you when, the guy in accounting is accessing some files that he shouldn't be. When somebody is pulling data down from a cloud drive and onto their hard drive. When someone's taking data from a hard drive and maybe moving it to an external drive. Those are the kinds of things that are red flags that create malicious attackers. So on this slide here, you'll see these are just the top data security risks that could impact your company from an employee standpoint. So just keep these things in mind. Sometimes it's malicious, most of the times it's accidental, but these things can be prevented. Now, of course, you get the added benefit, right, of what I'm going to show you on this next slide here, which is you can tell a lot about someone's productivity. As you noticed, when it comes to working from home, people get a little bit more relaxed. Let me give you an example. If I was in the office, I'd be wearing this. I'd be buttoned up. I'd be ready to go. I'd have my morning routine. Now, luckily, I'm an executive in cybersecurity, so I have to dress up and show up regardless of whether or not I'm working home. But in the same way that people lose the jacket, right? They lose the tie. Maybe they stop wearing sweatpants. You've all done it, right? Maybe they start wearing t-shirts because they're working from home. In the same way that someone lets down their personal appearance because they're comfortable at home, they're also letting down their defenses. And let me tell you this, the COVID-19 work from home phenomenon has created more open attack services than ever in history. So it's your job as an executive to control the security of your organization. So don't let your employees who have let down their defenses let down your defenses. Okay? 13 layers. Okay? Security is all about layers. Now, we did not go and reinvent the wheel and do what all of these great companies are already doing. There are amazing firewall platforms out there. There are amazing endpoint protection platforms out there. There are great email protection platforms out there, right? We don't recreate everything. Again, we try and fill a gap where things aren't working. However, we do a ton of extensive testing in our labs. So every major firewall that hits the market, we are throwing thousands upon thousands of exploits that we've pulled from all over the globe and putting them right into the penetration testing. Same with endpoint protection. So, it's important that you have, we have our favorites. So if there are suggestions that you'd like or you'd like to understand a technology more, we can provide that guidance. But the bottom line is we just want to make sure you have those layers. And if they're not performing well, we can show you why and we can make them stronger. So if you have questions about other security solutions and what we found in the marketplace, we're happy to share that with you. So 12 layers of security. So where did the 13th layer come from? So 13 is a funny number, but really the 13th layer is all about strategy. Okay. So what we're always doing with our clients is we don't start off with, tell me everything that you're using and what We want to look at the big picture of the organization. I can't tell you how many times we have saved a CEO from making a $500,000 purchase only to find out they need to spend a couple $1,000s and reroute some network traffic routes and just kind of fix the architecture instead of just throwing money at a product. You can't just throw money at solutions. That's not how it works. You have to take a top-down approach, and we've provided virtual CISO services for large companies. And at the end of the day, we're only going to make recommendations if they meet three critical factors. One, there's a critical need to your business, right, to improve your capabilities and or reduce risk and the total cost of ownership. They've passed our rigorous security standards, and they're an improvement over your current vendor. And that's only going to come at the request of you. So just know that we are available for consulting. Anytime you can get us on the phone for an hour, you're going to get a wealth of knowledge, and we will help you in any simple way. Our motto is pretty simple. It's do the right thing for the customer, and the rest will follow. So if there's any way that we can help you or educate you, we're happy to do it. We educate people all over the globe. It's actually one of our favorite things to do. So I want to wrap this up with giving you guys a bit of an offer here. We are going to give you our solutions free for 7 days. We will ship you a threat intelligence device and walk you through the very simple 3 to 5 minute install process, or we can have someone do it for you. Within 30 minutes, your network and everything connected to it will receive all of the instant protection that the other solutions cannot provide. This includes the combined intelligence from our FBI partnership and our 26 global intelligence collection points. On the 6th day, we're going to review the results with you of the report so you can get a precise idea of the types of attacks your network is under, where they are coming from, and why your current solutions aren't seeing them. If you decide to keep the protection provided by threat intelligence, which most companies do, the next steps will be working with your team to increase the performance of your other existing security solutions leveraging what we've found. And as an added bonus, we're going to go ahead and give you ThreatWatch free for 7 days so you can see how productive your team is being. So 2 products for free for 7 days. If you'd like to take advantage of this trial offer, please reach out to your local 13 Layers consultant to get started. Thank you so much for your time today with us at 13 Layers and taking a look at the missing link in cybersecurity. Have a great rest of your day.